Test 1 2 1 2. Test 1 2. Test 1 2 1 2 1 2. Test 1. Test 1 2 1 2. Test 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2. Test 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2. Test 1 2 1 2 1 2. Test 1 2. Test 1 2 1 2. Test 1 2. Test 1 2 1 2 1 2.
When you pass me by, there's three things that come immediately to mind. One is I like to have you. Two is I
Test
love
1 2 1 2 1 2.
Third one is irrelevant because there's no time or place.
I hear the music playing through here, but I don't hear from the mic. Can you hear me on the okay.
And I'll do all the things.
Test 1 2 1 2. What time we got on our clock over there?
I think you need to know the deal about just how I really feel. Cause intensely I'm for real, and I'm sure I'll make you feel that I'm a mean man and I'm a go-getter. And baby,
Late at night, when the evening comes, I sit down to check my options. There are none. First thing I think about is your lovely smile and all the things that drive me wild.
got your lady, drive me crazy. What am I gonna do? Woo-hoo. Got your lady, driving me crazy. What am I gonna do? If I can't have you,
Testing 1 2 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2 1 2 1 2.
And I'll do all the things you want me to.
She'll be okay right there. Can I go this way?
Hey, pretty lady, there's no defense against the love. I wanna show you how I feel. Hey, baby.
Wow.
Baby.
Night is young. Here, take this glass. We'll toast to happiness and a love that'll ever last. Of all the loves I've had before, no one can compare to me. You're so much more.
If you just let me do what I wanna do to you, I know I'll have you. If you can't let me do what I wanna do to you, then I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you.
Test. Smooth 92.1 is the only station that gives you a good dose of Southern soul.
Just like music. Oh, baby.
Test 1 2, but you can
Just
hear me.
like music.
To relax my mind so I can be free.
Test 1 2 1 2.
Absorb the sound that keep me round, doing my thing constantly with no worries. Peace to keep Murray.
Just
Yeah,
like
To
music.
keep me flowing,
Just
to
like
keep me
music.
going, to keep me
Hey, welcome back to Visions Now Summer Club. All views expressed for their educational and journalistic purposes, they're not the views of the management, advertisers, and staff of 92.1 FM. However, Visions does desire to bring a quality educational program which intellectually stimulates and culturally fulfills our community's needs to develop leadership and inform decision-making for our collective future. Welcome to the village. Often imitated, but never duplicated. I'm Dr. Geraldine Wood, your host and executive producer. Welcome.
Hello, 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 hello. Yes, yes, yes. Everything's looking good, looking good.
Your music is my tears inside my eyes. Just like your music makes me want to sing. Your music is a joy to bring. Just like music is my heart and soul. More precious than gold. Turn on my music. I got my music. Happiness today is way.
Ava Champagne, leader of the beautiful people, and Sister Rashida Ali, the queen of the airways. And of course, yours truly is the head visionary. And we're delighted to have you with us today. And today, of course, we're going to have Miss Pat Frey. Miss Pat Frey. She's a candidate for the school board. And we are looking forward to having a real wide-ranging discussion with her. And of course, we want to remind you that, of course, you can put in your order now for the book. Yeah, that's right. For the book. That's right. You can put in the order now for the book. Visions Now for the Future. And of course, yours truly. And of course, we sold out the first printing. So you need to get the, yeah, we're taking pre-orders, though. We're taking pre-orders, hey. We're taking pre-orders. And of course, our discussion today will center around this book here. And it's called Miseducation of the Negro. And we're trying to hopefully to stop it. And we hope that the candidates that are running for the school board are going to work with us as well and stopping us, helping us stop the miseducation, particularly of our children. We just seem to be struggling in so many ways. And so we're looking forward to talking to Ms. Pat Frey. And of course, Miss Frey has a wonderful resume, and she's been involved in the community for many, many years and many positions. And of course, we anybody been around for a while, our paths across at some point or another. We'd have bumped into each other somewhere along the way, and so it is with Miss Frey, and we're looking forward to that. Our word for today, our thought for today is keep my anger from becoming meanness, keep my sorrow from collapsing into self-pity, keep my heart soft enough to keep breaking, keep my anger turned towards justice, not cruelty. Remind me that all of this, every bit of it, is for love. Keep me fiercely kind. That's what it's all about. Okay? Keep me fiercely kind. And every bit of this is all about love. That's right. And so we're looking forward to next week. Good Lord, Willie Creek doesn't rise. We're going to have Miss Lakeitha Ash as our guest, and so she'll get a chance to sit with yours truly, and they have a wide-ranging discussion as well. And so I'm just going to have a nice time chatting. By the way, if you want to call in, 706-324-1420, 706-324-1420 is the hotline number, and we'd certainly like to talk with you if need be, but give us a chance to have our discussion, and because we'll open up the lines probably after 7:30, about 7:35, something like that. We actually open up the line because, we like to kind of have a little discussion and talk about, so you get to know each of the candidates. We don't just want to do a little blog here, a little blog. We want you to actually get a chance to feel them. And I think it's only fair to them for you to get a chance to really know them, know their mind, and know their heart. And so that's what it's all about today. So, Brother Julian, how you doing today?
Doing well.
Good. What's happening up there at Columbus State University?
Finals and exams.
Oh, finals and exams. Okay. Okay. Well, you got to get some of the folks in the studio so we can kind of have a little discussion with them about, are they preparing themselves to get out and get the bag, or they are preparing themselves to help build the community. They're going to be baggers or they're going to be builders. So that's what we got to try to figure out.
Yes, sir, and try to get that initiative.
Yeah, you already know. So that's what it's all about, So, and of course, we got the same call letters and everything, but we do have a new brand, and that's 92.1 FM, the Smooth R&B, and we are certainly excited about that. And so anything that's happening like that, of course, there are a lot of different things going on. It's just Columbus, Georgia. Lord have mercy. Columbus, Georgia. Where's your soul? I tell you. I think the Lord need to come down here and touch some of these people on the city council and some of these on the school boards. And the Lord need to come down here. I think the Lord need to come down here and talk to them personally. Anybody checking in up there? Anybody checking in? Let us know, Julian. We can call out their name. And let them know we know they're there. We appreciate them being here.
Absolutely. Post in the comments.
Yeah. In the comment. And matter of fact, you can put a question in the comment, and Julian will let me know what it is, and then we'll he can ask it or I can ask it, whatever it is, and we can go from there. And just make it do what it do. Is for sure. Now, I also wanted to say that tomorrow evening, there's going to be a special. WRBL is doing a special on community violence. And we hope that you will be able to join in. It's from 8 to 10 o'clock. And this is a wide-ranging discussion with different voices about what they see as being the issue. As to this community chaos. I just call it community chaos. Now, I know it's born out of neglect and abuse, but we must have a balance, we call it Mayat. We got to have a balanced approach to how we're going to deal with these problems. So yours truly, I tried to offer, some thoughts about what I know for sure, and it's what we work, and some of the other people will offer what they believe will work. What they believe will work. I mean, so we'll see. But we know for sure that we'll get into that a little bit later on as well. But again, we want to thank you for being with us. And of course, we're in that season, and we're delighted that Miss Pat Frey has taken time out of her busy schedule to be with us tonight, and we're going to be chatting with her. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take a little early break. We're going to bring her in during our break, and then we're going to pay a few bills, huh? Okay. And then we're going to take our time and just kind of have a little chat about what her vision is for our children and that type of thing. So you listen to Visions now, the Supper Club on 92.1 Smooth R&B. I'm Dr. J. Aleem Hood, your host and executive producer, and we're the one that loves you, and the doggone thing you can do about it, just enjoy it and love somebody else if you can't love us.
Come on into T-Bone Steakhouse and Grill and set yourself down for one of the best steaks you've ever tasted, cooked to perfection by some of the best steak chefs in the biz. Or if you're not a steak fan, try T-Bone's pork chops or seafood or that succulent smothered chicken. The menu is so good at T-Bone Steakhouse and Grill, you can just close your eyes and point to something, and whatever you choose, it will be melt in your mouth good. From T-Bone Steakhouse and Grill, Highway 80, Ladonia Square in Phoenix City, open Tuesday through Sunday.
When you're hurt in an accident of some sort, you need someone to look out for your best interest. You need to be represented by a firm with decades of experience. You need Dunlap and Lakes PC. They are dedicated to ensuring client satisfaction. They handle real estate transactions, personal injury, insurance, and business law. They practice in Georgia and Alabama. Call Dunlap and Lakes PC today at 706-507-1381. That's 706-507-1381. Or visit them today at 1332 Winton Road. That's 1332 Winton Road.
Gotta get the right angle. That good, y'all. How y'all living? All right, and we're back.
Okay, we're back here, and Miss Pat, how you doing?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
Good, and good running to you again.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And the other night, I'm glad you were at the event with the issue about prison labor, and that's kind of an interesting situation there. What you think about it?
It's a subject that we've often just not discussed.
Right.
And I, in fact, I told one of the ladies that was a friend of Miss Wilson that when I first moved here back several decades ago, we put cold water and things out by the trash on top of the trash can for the guys who were taking care of the cans.
Right.
And my father quickly got a knock on the door and said, "You can't do that. You can't." He's like, "I don't understand. It's hot outside. It's summer in Georgia."
Right.
And he was quickly told that those kinds of things weren't allowable. So, that was a lesson in things were not done here the way they were where we came from.
Right.
So, it's time that we look at reentry as reentry. It's not let me still have the ball and chain of what I was convicted for at the beginning.
Right.
Yeah, I could go on with that one for a while. So.
Well, no doubt. Well, that's good. That's a good thing. I guess that, but it really kind of bridges the gap for me because I have several questions. We're going to be able to take our time, but just kind of have a chat. Of course, I've shared a little bit about your background in terms of working with the Housing Authority, and of course, my organization, my agency, Project Rebound Inc.
Mm-hmm.
We started in Elizabeth County.
That's where I started my career with public housing. At the age of 16, was in Elizabeth County.
So we at that time we thought, well, with the school system, because I was the first professional social worker there. And so I was trying to come up with some innovative things. And my thought was, okay, the impression was that, let's put it in the Housing Authority because that's where all the kids that need it is. But we found out that that wasn't the only place the children needed it. That the children needed it. They came from everywhere.
Everywhere. Absolutely.
There was no socioeconomic. You name it, they needed it. So we're blessed to still be here, and that's probably about 30 years ago, actually, because we actually started Project Rebound, and we started working on it in '92, and about '94 is when we actually I think when we actually started there, and then eventually moved to Boxwood Rec Center. But my point is that at that time, what I found, I left Tuskegee University as a college professor and acting chair of the Department of Social Work over there, and Ms. Percy Griffin at that time, who was
my old principal.
Yes, assistant superintendent of student services. He asked me, would I consider leaving the university and coming, and he knew of my work and that type of thing. He said, we need you, and I want to make a difference, as assistant superintendent and that type of thing. And so I said, okay. And what I found out was that there was a lot of very high dropout.
Yep.
And also there was a high push out. Basically, and what really caught me initially was, I had about 5 schools. I had Marshall, I had Eddie, I had Baker, I had Spencer, I had Carver. I had all the good schools. I loved it. Okay, but as I would move from one to the other, I would see children walking the streets. Now, remember, I'm a old Carver graduate, and I grew up in Columbus. And during school, Columbus, the streets were like ghost town.
Yep.
But then when I came back, it wasn't like ghost town no more. Children, it wasn't like if you were out, you were ducking. You didn't want anybody to see you. You didn't want to put them cause the truant officer. Whatever. But they were walking around like groups. And then I would stop and say, "Why y'all not in school?" They said, "Well, we've been suspended." Well, you too? You're suspended. I said, "I don't believe. Give me your name. Give me your name." So I would go back to school and say, "Yeah, they've been suspended." Okay, wow. Then the other problem that I found out was that many of them, and this is where the dropout come in the middle school, in the 8th grade, but they were 16, 15, 16, going on 17, still in middle school. So the chance of them finishing was not going to be
very
good.
small.
So that's why I started Project Rebound and say, wait a minute, let's see if we can, first of all, identify these youth that are troubled earlier so that we can work with them to keep them from having to either go to the alternative school, because the alternative school is like one step in school and one step in the YDC.
Right.
In the YDC. So I was saying, well, let's get something else so that maybe we can work with, and we were, of course, was successful. We're still here today, and God has blessed us to be a role model around the country, actually, with that model and approach that we took. But I say all that to say that, first of all, what was your initial motivation? I was someone that had been watching you and just saying, I think you'll be good, Pat. Why don't you come on and run for the school board position? Because we've been watching you. And is that what happened? Or has there been something in your belly all along that you wanted to do? What got you here?
Well, it has been, as you put it, in my belly for quite some time. But I had some responsibilities for family that took a lot of time, and I would not have been able to do justice to my family or to my constituents. So I'm at the point in my life now where I have that ability to be able to dedicate time to making systematic policy change.
You know what? I'm glad you say all the right things, don't you? Because
there's no card.
Right.
You can't. It's not one thing. It's not one school. It's not one. There's no magic bullet. There's no magic answer. But we have to say, is this working? Yes or no? If it's not, let's start peeling the onion.
Right.
Start taking back the layers and get to the core of what is not working.
That's and the reason I mentioned that, because a few minutes ago I was going to mention to you when we were talking about the prison thing that it's a systemic problem. It's a system, and of course, and that's what they're trying to do. Not trying to change some of the precedents of the system. You know, even I think they mentioned even about the Constitution trying to get that part written out. In other words, but the system changed, and everybody. And one of the things about it, I mean, I've always been a straight shooter, and I'm not, because God told me to do it. I'm going to have to do it. You know, is that there has to be change. You know, many times we, you know, it's not what you do for those who are blessed and gifted and talented, but as it says in the Bible, it's what you do for the least of these. And we're not winning with the least of these, and that's because I'm sure about, if you look at the killings and the gang and all that, you know, now obviously that we know that, and we're going to talk about that too. We know there's a part there for the family. There's a part for the family. I call it, there's a part for the village, and I'm very critical about that part. But there's another part there that has a legacy, because just as we talk about prison labor, that's a legacy or holdover from the period of enslavement, and that continued, and that kind of tradition, and so that's system change. So that's why when you say system change, I like that, because the notion is that, but many people be uncomfortable standing alone. I guess I'm wondering, you know, because many times, you know, I know when I went in, it was system change, you know, doing what I was doing, and I know it's tough. It's tough, and everybody don't like system change. So I guess my point is that how comfortable are you being the lone person? Do you feel that you got to go along and negotiate, so then they help you sometimes? Or are you going to there to stand for what you think is right and to do the right thing, and or either, how do you see
Sure.
your posture?
First of all, I don't shy away from doing what's right. Sometimes that means that I'm in lockstep and arm in arm with others, and sometimes that means I might be standing out there on my own. I've had a career in my various roles where I have led the charge to bring about efficiencies, better production, better outcomes, and everything. And most of the time at the beginning, people weren't quite on board.
Right.
Change is hard.
Yes,
it doesn't matter.
Right.
Change is hard.
Right.
I don't like it, but I'm just comfortable. That's just what we do, or we've always done it that way.
Right.
I am all about we can find that common ground.
We can't do it. I mean, either they, and that's one thing I find many times is that, okay, it's almost like saying, well, I tried this, Pat, and I couldn't do it, so it can't be. As opposed to, I've tried it. Well, I mean, you can try it, but that's not general spirit. It's general spirit that it can't be done, and this is the best we can do.
Or I tried it this way.
Right.
Okay, so if you tried it this way and it didn't work, then I'm going to try it this way.
Right.
And that's what I said when I talk about peeling back the onion, getting to the core of it. Let's look at where we are. Let's get this baseline. What is it? And there's, again, nothing's going to happen overnight.
Right.
We're not going to have a 2 and 3 grade improvement in the reading levels and the math skills and all that overnight. It's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. I'm
in this for the long haul. Mm-hmm. I'm not running to go at a term and say, okay, well, mission accomplished. I did it and moved on. I want to do it to the point where, you know what? I have accomplished the mission of making sure that the social, emotional, and non-educational needs of the students and their families are being met with the collaboration of community organizations, so that the teachers can focus on what they need to do to get the students where they need to be, so that they're career and college ready the moment they leave our school system.
Okay, let's go and jump on it here. Education means that the word education means something. It's not just giving children information. Education is different from training. Tell me what your understanding is, the difference between in education, a system that's educating and a system that's providing training.
Education is, like you said, not just giving you information. I'm not teaching you the answers to pass a test or to move on to the next grade. I'm trying to give you knowledge and a base upon which you can build the next step and the next step and the next step. And part of that, unfortunately, is that sometimes I have to let you fall down.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get that math problem wrong a few times before you figure out how to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to the family too.
Right.
When Sally's learning how to walk, she's going to stumble a few times.
Mm-hmm.
You don't tell her, "Oh, don't do that."
Mm-hmm.
You want her to progress.
Right.
We have to be able to do that. Education is also allowing people to find answers, to research, to learning critical thinking skills. Not everything is found on Google or YouTube.
Okay, you keep doing it. One of my pet peeves is, and I find there's a class dimension in this, that the schools that it appears, and I could be wrong, and you have more data than I do. I'm looking from the outside, but the schools that have the more middle and upper class families seem to have more of a balance between technology and books.
Okay.
Tablets and books. But it seems as if in the schools where the lower and more disadvantaged children go to, they're operating more on tablets. I saw a picture with one of the news stations they showed a room. There was no books anywhere in there. They had tablets on each of the desks. And I'm trying to say, tablets, God knows, children need to know, but children need to be able to develop a relationship with a book. I know one thing about it with me. In the first grade, one of the great joys was when they passed out those youth, because you used to pass the books down, and when we get the book, we had to go home and get newspapers and a paper bag, and then wrap them. And I mean, I'm saying, but that was, and looking back, that was important. Books, because he was saying books are important to me. These children, and then I developed the patience to read. There's a difference between me taking my phone and doing versus me looking at this book. I mean, it's a different kind of organic relationship. Artificial intelligence has its place, but there's a T-shirt that I'm in the process of putting together and say, artificial intelligence. No, I know I really say, only thing I need a tablet for is to show me how to find a book. Tell me what you think about that.
Well, it's ironic you say that because one of the comments I have most often with my children and my grandchildren is look it up.
Right.
Look
Dictionary.
Look it up. My father was, and I'm going to get to you, but my father was an 8th grade dropout in the 1940s, and he left school to go fight in World War II. And so his spelling, he could read. Well-read man, he would get 10 books when the Bradley Library was in the old Brad. He would get 10 books at a time.
Right.
Very, very, but couldn't spell for anything.
Right.
Well, he knew where to find the answer. He said, if I don't know how to spell, I can't look up in the dictionary. He'd use the yellow pages.
Right.
And his famous one was he couldn't spell corsage. He said, but if I find a florist, it's got to be in there somewhere. That's what I'm talking about. Those are those critical thinking skills on a very micro level.
Right.
But having that book, I mean, my 3-year-old granddaughter last weekend when she was with me, she says, Nana, it's bedtime story now, and I need the cat and a hat. Right. Okay, it's on the shelf in the room. That has built my firstborn granddaughter. We used to repeat the cat together almost every night, and she can just tell you how I would do the voices. But it built those things, and I'm happy to say that the books are still around for them. But I agree with you. We everything in moderation.
Can you push to make sure that we get
everything in moderation? I don't think that, and this is my personal opinion.
Are they using the library? take a poll, see how they use the library. We used to have classes teaching us how to find
Read the card
do
catalog.
decimal.
That's right.
I mean, I'm trying to say, but these children these days, I mean, it's bad enough that they don't know the timetable because, and another thing, they don't do cursive. Will you explain to me why children? I mean, I don't understand why children don't need to be able to write.
I don't know how you're going to sign a check. I've often asked that. I don't know the answer. I don't know why we took it out. But how will you write a check? How will my grandchildren?
Well, you're on the computer. You know, you can just use that to sign the check, right?
That's true. I guess I'm the only person that still writes checks.
But I mean, me too.
But if you know, you're looking back at the documents from my mother and my great grandfather's diaries, which were all written in cursive.
That's right.
They're going to be lost.
It's an art. It's an art.
How can you read the Declaration of Independence?
It's an art. You know, so that's one of my pet peeves. I'm gonna go down my little list here.
Okay.
Okay. You let me know, Julian, we need to take a break or something. Okay.
Okay, I'll let you.
Okay. One is school climate evaluation. Now, recently, that was an issue that came up that about changing the school times. Mm-hmm. Okay, and they allowed us to come on Zoom. Okay. So I went on Zoom. Now, they made the presentation, but they didn't really answer people questions, or they picked which question you want to answer. The other thing about it was, though, is that someone asked, "Did you ask the parents?" And they really didn't. It was kind of like, you know, as a planner, we did a planning exercise one time whereby, okay, I'm the planner, you're the consumer. So therefore, we had one group that sat with the consumer and the planner. Then had another group where the planners were by themselves and the consumers by themselves. You know which group came out the best, right?
Where they work together?
Well, they work together. In other words, the planners would listen to the people, and so therefore they were making the plans based upon what the feedback they were getting. Mm-hmm. But today we have so many people that want to be politicians rather than servants, rather than representatives. They go there. I don't care what my constituents say. I'm in this seat, so I'm gonna vote well. I get what I'm saying, but can't you? What happened to a consensus? I mean, if you got a thought, get with the people who are gonna have to deal with this. I mean, so tell me, what kind of leadership are you going to provide?
Well, my thought process was that when it was first proposed, if you have a constituency, it is your responsibility as that elected representative to not just rely on the presentations that the school board was given,
Please.
which I attended 3 of them,
Please.
but to get with your constituents at your local schools, where they are in the neighborhoods, and have a discussion. How you reach them. We have more ways. We're more connected now than ever, but we're more disconnected than ever.
I'm glad you mentioned that. And that's another thing I'll say. Who's monitoring whether or not? Now, my understanding that, and I could be wrong. I don't know whether it's all the schools or certain. I don't know whether it's just the Title I schools or what. But it's supposed to have a parent council of sorts that's supposed to have input.
Correct.
Who's monitoring that? Because I don't get the impression, because I still see where parents are still feel intimidated to ask questions and to go to the school. And most times, the only time they go is there's a problem. They're not engaged ongoingly. I mean, so what is your understanding of this?
I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to go from another perspective too, as a grandparent who's been and you know, my kids went to public school here, mm-hmm. and my grandchildren are now too. But you know, it goes both ways. We need the encouragement of the school to involve the parent, but the parents also need to step up and step in and be a little more involved. When we have young children who are not attending school because their parents aren't getting them to school, mm-hmm. that there's a problem. But also, go ahead. When we're having PTA meetings and there's 2 or 3 people showing up,
right?
We have to do something else. I don't know what that is today.
Right.
I don't.
Let me share something with
yes.
you. That's just for you. I've talked to some people who were PTA people, right? But when the PTA got together, unfortunately, the school administration just dismissed the PTA and did what they want to do, so the PTA people stopped coming. There's just
And
little
so there
feedback.
has to be
A welcoming.
there absolutely, but there has to be a recourse too. There has
Yeah.
to be an accept for someone to say, "Hey, we're not being listened to.
Right.
We're trying to." So there.
And
has
these are
to be-
parents. So these
These
are
are
parents.
parents, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So someone needs to listen. Yep.
Okay.
You can go ahead and take a break.
Okay, we'll take a break. Okay, we're with Ms. Pat Frey, and she's a candidate for school board representative to replace Ms. Kathy Williams, who resigned for I guess further advancement and other opportunities. And so we like to have you to come back and stay with us. If you have any questions you want to put in the comment section, please do. But again, Ms. Pat Frey, candidate for school representative. And what's that district?
District 7.
District 7, school board representative. And of course, you're running also along with Ms. Nithya Ash.
Ms. Ash,
Ms.
correct.
Ash, okay. All right. So again, Ms. Pat Frey is with us today. Stay tuned. As I said to you, we're the one that love you, and the doggone thing you can do about it. Only thing you can do is, if you don't want to love us, love somebody else, but just love somebody.
Do you use the expensive blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? Are you thinking about it? What if we can promise you the same
You wanna come
results
in with the
for less than
video?
$3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners.
All
Our
right, we
pills
at
deliver the
7:36.
exact same results for less than $3. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120 with free discreet shipping. You can save more than $700 off pharmacy prices. Charge your sex life now and save a ton of money. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free shipping. Stop overpaying and call right now.
Paid for by Steel Man Pills. 800-750-9886. 800-750-9886. 800-750-9886. That's 800-750-9886.
Natalia, solid dismount, but that little pause is a deduction. Top tumblers hope to stick the landing with Coach Jasmine. That aerial sequence still needs more certified athletic trainers to find your balance. Focus. I'm going to need you for the all-around. Wait, who's spotting the vault? Indeed can help her hire great people fast. I need Indeed. Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
They all went to Baker.
Oh no, I still got Harvey Lumber. You coming back in 20 seconds?
Okay.
Come back in 10. You want to come back straight with video or?
Yeah. Go to the other clip.
Well, those are both.
That's the long one there. Can you see how much time it is on that? I want the short one. Yeah. Can you see what the time is on it?
Yeah, this one is 27 minutes.
Okay, not that one. What's the other one?
This one's 27 minutes too, so I'm not really fast. I think this probably.
Oh, okay.
27 minutes too. Yeah, they all 27.
Okay. Go to that one.
You want to start from the beginning? This one starts at 6 minutes.
Okay, yeah, that's what I want to start there. Yeah, then we'll cut it at one side. I just want her to hear a couple things. Can you get the volume up for her? Okay.
Would be some of the ways to redirect that direction. Yeah, I think that as educators, we ourselves, it's kind of like on an airplane when they say, you know, in case of an emergency, put your mask on first before helping somebody else. Us here as educators, we need to put our masks on, so to speak. I think it would be beneficial for us, those of us who are concerned with justice and educating American African children, as well as other children, to understand what the truth is about our situation, to the depth that we are capable of understanding that truth. And then from that point, earnestly seeking a solution and seeking out how we can better improve ourselves as professors, as instructors, as teachers, so that we are imparting as much information as well as inspiration to our students to go ahead and seek further than what we're able to take them.
Do you see this on all levels of education? As college professors, there's a little more autonomy there and agency with what you're teaching. But when you're looking at elementary and junior high, and you're teaching to the exam or you're teaching to a certain block of time.
I heard the last little bit what she said when you're teaching to the exam or you're teaching towards a block of time in the elementary school, but that's all I caught.
How do you see a instructor being able to make an impact through that established core of information you have to get out?
Right. Okay. So
Very
what I see
faint.
On an education, on an elementary level, even preschool, homeschool, high school, is that again, it's the teacher's presentation.
Is it because of the phone?
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, back to there you go. I can hear myself now. Okay, we're here with Ms. Pat Frey, candidate for District 7.
Correct.
School board. And by the way, is this completing the term, or this is?
This would to be complete Miss Kathy Williams' term. Yes, sir.
And how much time would that be?
That would be till December of next year.
Okay, then you have to run again.
Then I would have to run again. Yes,
okay.
sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We talked about school. Now, parent involvement. We have to kind of start talking about that as well. Now, you know, in teaching and doing, trainings and things, you know, in my studies, there are 3 basic reasons for achievement that really enhance achievement for students. One is what we call parent involvement. Okay. The second one is teacher expectation. The third one is time on task. Now, let me say this. On parent involvement, I know that, you know, as a social worker, I used to have to sit with parents because then the schools would intimidate them or talk down to them, use language that they didn't. I mean, in other words, it was just not a good fit there. The other thing about it is that I know the only time they heard anything from the school many times, when I was a child, let me say this. When
It was something bad.
Yeah. When I was a child, before school started, now I know they're not going to do this these days, but when I started, my homeroom teacher would come around to everybody in our homeroom, and she would introduce herself, and we were out there cleaning up, breaking up the yard, because we knew the teacher was going to come and just say hello, you know, and so the parent basically say, look, if you have any problem out of him, in other words, they built that connection. So therefore,
Was your mama my mama? Because mine did it too.
yeah, because the teachers they did that. They had the list of the homeroom, and so they would come around on that Saturday before school or sometime within that time to visit all the parents, just to say, hey, look, this is who I am. Now, my point of it is that then my parents, they would catch rides. We didn't have a car, but they would catch rides with other parents, and they would dress up like they're going to church. So it would be packed. So my point is that, and there's some other issues as to why during the desegregation issue that parent involvement in the black children's schools dropped down, because many times parents of the black children work for the parents of the white children. So therefore, when they had to go to the same PTA, it just was not a good feeling, because I might work for her or her friend, and so therefore I'm not going to PTA and raise no saying about my child. So therefore, a period of time, what used to be like this, and people catching rides to get there, it fell off. Plus, the other thing about it, with the busing, it took children away from the neighborhood. So, in other words, so my point is that those types of history has to be taken into consideration as to why parents are not involved now. So whoever's doing that parent involvement, I'm saying I think they need to be taught really how to reach people, because that, and I would think with the Latino community, there are probably some issues there as well, because there are other kinds of barriers there, not just culture, but language barriers. So therefore, many times, I'm not sure as to what's going on there, but many times that's the problem. Other problem area is teacher expectation. And I know the teachers are, and my thing is that the really change had to happen. The administration has to buy into the change, because many times you're a line teacher, you got to kind of go with what your job is, and just say test 10 times, you got to test 10 times. But for the school board is concerned, somehow I guess I'm just saying is that we need to have some type of climate assessment. And that means that the parents give some feedback to the schools as to whether or not they feel comfortable. Do you know anything about, is any of that taking place? Is that recent years where there's a school climate whereby the receptivity and things of that sort going on?
I'm not aware of an official study.
Do you think that that's something that
I
would be
think
helpful?
we all and I was just having a discussion in my work that I do yesterday about doing an assessment of a process, and we have a general idea of where it would flesh out, but not being afraid for it not to be as good as we thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't evaluate it. You can't make change. You can't make positive change unless you know what your baseline is.
Thank you.
You have to have a baseline.
That's what I'm talking about.
So having, but I'm a firm believer too in meeting people where they are. When you were talking, I'm meeting people where they are, whether it be meeting them where they are in that we have to make it easier for the parent whose child lives in Oakland Park, but they go to the Magnet clear across town.
Right.
How does that parent get there? How does that child get there for those Saturday science clubs?
Right.
How do we make those happen? Those are the kinds of things that I'm thinking that we can make real impactful change very quickly, so that we can start bridging those gaps. If we see some more, just those little successes, little wins, and we'll go a long way. And having that parent to tell the teacher, you can call me, I'll call you, and working together so that the teacher's expectations is the parent's expectation, and the child knows what the expectations are, and everybody working on the same team. We get a whole lot more done.
And don't call the parent, and don't get the parent when it's too late. I mean, when it first raise his head that there's some trouble in paradise, then get the parent involved, and working that. But many times it's like, okay, your child is failing now. I mean, your child has been acting up all week, but now they suspended. Now you're going to call. No, don't do that. The other thing about it is this: time on task. It always has troubled me when children have come to the point where I remember there was a point with even back when my children were there, and say, well, what's your homework? Well, I did it at school. No, no. That you did your schoolwork at school. I want to know your homework. When I went to school, that was one of the big things. After school, when we got home, we did our homework first. Then we put on our play clothes.
That's right.
They don't have. So my point is, they don't put enough time in on the subject matter to really grow and develop. At least in the schools that I'm talking about, schools that need it, they're not getting that. I think that the park and recreation facility, they need to have tutorial programs in the rec centers that children can access, because many times the home environment might not be conducive. But if they can get to a rec center, they should be able to have a tutorial program in there where they can do their homework.
You mean having community organizations to help to meet the needs of the students?
Yes.
And it makes me think about that math book. The first day you get that math book, and it's your first algebra class,
right?
And you look at the last page, and you're thinking, "There's no way I'm ever going to know what all this means."
Right.
Well, back in our day, we never made it to that last page,
right.
because we stayed on that chapter till we got it.
Yes.
And that meant doing drills at home, making flashcards. You're doing homework. And when it's your science, you're outlining the chapter. When it's your history, you're outlining the chapter. You're answering the questions at the back. those are the kinds of things that, again, if we have just a little bit of collaboration to say, it doesn't, again, I think it's a societal thing. It's instant.
Right.
Oh, checked it off. If I haven't mastered it, I'm not done.
Exactly. And I get that brings me to my next question. I think and the question is, and that I ask a lot of people is, and again, I'm an educator.
Mm-hmm.
I work from Head Start all the way up to the university. And I decided very clearly that we have a system of failure and not success. And what I mean by that is that, do students fail school or do schools fail children?
The student goes in there with the expectation of being given what they need to be successful. So having that said, we have to, again, meet that student where they are.
Exactly.
So if anyone's failing, we as a society, we as adults, we as the system, you can say it's the school, I think we as a country have failed our children.
Exactly. And I guess, and we should give them opportunities to
It's
learn
about
better.
access. It's about access. It's about accessibility. It's about making sure that the young man that lives next door, whose family doesn't have the vehicle,
Right.
has the same access to those extracurricular activities
Exactly.
than the one who does.
Exactly.
Because he has to catch the bus home.
Right.
So he's out of luck.
Exactly.
He can't stay after school for tutoring.
Exactly.
So those are the kinds of things that will make huge impacts very, very quickly.
Now, this is a question that I definitely got to get in this here, is this. The fact of the matter is that, as you know, you can look at the north side. It has its spots, but overall, the north side, you see it's growing. It's Bibb City even it's
Correct.
Okay. Look at the south and the east side. Now, my point is this, and I know this for a fact. Back in the day, there was a certain kind of track and certain kind of thing they had in the curriculum that assured that girls knew how to be good homemakers. They had boys make sure that girls could take shop too, but the boys had shop, but they would be good homemakers. And the girls, some girl would take shop, like some boy would take home. But my point is that none of that is there. Our children have all these emotional issues, but yet they learn nothing about, you talked about social emotional. It's not there. Now, my contention is this. African-American children, one of the big problems that we have is it's an identity, cultural identity. The school system has a curriculum, and of course, that's where you come in. Many times people are having problem with the issue they call CRT, cultural, what do they call
Race
it?
theory.
Race theory, yeah. I mean, it's just so absurd to me. It's just like the Hispanic students, at the end of the day, have to be the lead individuals to develop the Hispanic community. The American African students, they have to be the lead. They got to fix these problems. We're talking about no, they got to be able to fix their home. They got to be able to fix their neighborhood. But there's nothing, they're not even given an assignment. They can't even get books to learn how to fix problems in their own neighborhood. So when we talk about success is, okay, I'm prepared to get a job, but I'm not. When I was in school, we were told, get a good education because you got to get out here and compete and go out into the world and become successful so you can come back and help your community. My children were told, get successful, get a good education so you don't have to come back to Columbus, Georgia. No, our children are not being prepared to take responsibility for their own communities. They're being taught how to do other things, but the first job is how to care for your own neighborhoods. So my point is that how can we make this education relevant so that the cultural differences, that's not an illusion, that's a reality. There's a different history to that classroom for different students. So therefore, why can't we have an education that respects that?
I think we have to meet people where they are, no matter what. And that is in how we are sensitive to the culture, to the upbringing, to the neighborhood, even of those students. And as a
home for good, huh?
Home for good. But as a I'm gonna upset you a little bit as a professor.
Okay.
But a 4-year degree ain't for everybody.
No, it's not. I'm with that. That's my point.
We need to understand that. And I go back to, my mother who grew up in Germany, and after the 8th grade, you went on to either pursue a career trade and you started working as an apprentice and those kinds of things, or you went into higher education. And because people needed to be able to care for themselves and to care for their families. And truly, I think that's where I'm not coming back to the old neighborhood. I'm not doing that. In the upbringing that I came from and you came from, there wasn't a question.
No, not at all.
No.
That's why I came back. That's why I came back.
You came home
to Columbus
to make sure that you take care of those who take care
Mama
of you,
Auntie Nim,
and Oma next door, and everything else. And then it's up to you then to be that next generation of your community, of your family, that takes it up a notch and up a notch. That's in my life, in my world. That's what we're all tasked to do. And I guess that's why I'm sitting here today.
Okay, last question. Good, more direct. Can we get, African American studies available to our children? If parents don't want to take it, fine, but at least it can be an option for those parents who do what their children do, have a good feeling about their identity. It hurts me when I hear black children saying, "Well, being smart is acting white." What do you mean? That's absurd. But somewhere along the line,
so you hit my chord, because we have got to be able to embrace who we are, whomever we are.
Then we can get along better.
I'm the German Irish, so I wear all kinds of different hats.
Right.
And my children are have Hispanic, so there's another hat, and we have to be able to celebrate and embrace every one of them. We don't have to be either or.
Okay, well, those are questions that I have on my list. And of course, I'll do anything before we go real quick. Junior, anything in the comment section, anything real quick?
No comments, but Miss Trisha Pounds is in agreement with the getting textbooks back into the classroom.
Okay. All right. So again, how much time we have?
Right at 1 minute.
Okay, you got 15 seconds. Say whatever you want to say.
Well, again, just thank you for having me here today. And I think you hit it on the head when you said, that we have got to all work together, and it's all about collaboration. That's what I have built my entire career on, is working together to solve problems. No one has all the answers. And if you're in a room of everybody who looks like you, talks like you, and thinks like you, you need to get out of that room.
Exactly. And of course, my last word is that I remember the day when a dropout had a pretty good education.
Absolutely.
A dropout had a trade.
That's right.
So I want to get back to that, because we got to give some kind of tool for these children to be able to make a living. They're successful when they can do something to transform their own lives, not just a job.
Absolutely.
Okay. No doubt about it. So with that, I guess I'd like to thank you, Ms. Frey, and of course, we'll see how everything falls out, so to speak. But again, I've enjoyed seeing you again.
Thank you,
tell your brother I say hello.
I'll do it.
No doubt. Send me some materials.
Okay, I'll do it.
No doubt. So again, thank you so very, very much. And I know either way, win, lose, tie, draw, you're going to be involved.
Absolutely.
And so I look forward to it. And of course, we hear Visions now. Please keep us, any way we can be helpful, feel free to. And of course, tune in tomorrow night with WRBL with that special. I have a few comments in there, and like to get your feedback on what you think about it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Then. Okay, you listen to Visions Now, the Supper Club, and you just had a meal with Mr. Pat Frey. Am I saying your name correct?
You are.
It's okay.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
And so again, we've enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed the menu. And of course, this is very, very important. This is a time of change. That's another thing about it. And that's really what the whole point that I'm making here today is, and why I'm asking the question that I am, because we need somebody that's not trying to go along to get along. We need somebody who's saying, look, we don't want to pass this on to our grandchildren to have to fix. We want to start this process of repair now. And so somebody has to do it. And of course, Dr. King said, sometimes there are decisions for popular and for politics, but sometimes you have to do just what is right. And we just hope that you in your prayer room will come out and do what is right. And somebody's calling, but I think they don't realize the time is up. Can we do our outro? Oh, okay. Well, all right then. Good night.